Hello! Welcome to the first video of the A Taste of Farming, an online series for aspiring and new farmers. Today, we are going to discuss agriculture business plans. While seemingly basic and definitely boring sounding, writing a business plan is one of the best things that you can do for your potential farm or business venture. A business plan can help you get all of your ideas into one spot, as well as perhaps think through some things that haven't crossed your mind in your farm planning. There are many different formats that you can take in a business plan. Googling how to write a business plan can get you many resources. In this presentation, I will go over the basics of a business plan, including what should be in it and how to make the business plan work for you. This is just a small sampling of a larger presentation and workshop on writing an ag business plan. If you have more questions or need more help, please feel free to reach out to a trusted advisor to assist you. Also, as a side note, this presentation is based on the SARE Building a Sustainable Business, a guide to developing a business plan for farms and rural businesses handbook, developed by the Minnesota Institute for Sustainable Agriculture, published by Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education. A link to this resource will be available on the main page of the website. I like this resource because it looks at a business plan as a holistic whole farm plan, not just a traditional business plan. Farming is a way of life, not just a business, and an agriculture or farming business plan needs to take that into consideration. First, just a brief introduction about myself. I'm Sarah Sharpe. I'm the Agriculture and Natural Resources Extension Agent based in Greene County, Virginia. I have a specialty, I use that word loosely, of commercial horticulture and local foods. I am a self-proclaimed entrepreneur. I started an egg business at age 12 with 150 chickens. In October, I currently run a you-pick pumpkin patch on my family's farm. I love working with new and beginning farmers who are working on getting new enterprises and agriculture businesses up and going. As an extension agent, there's nothing more frustrating than having someone come to me with this scenario. Hi, I need your help. I've raised 3 acres of X, fill in the blank of a very niche crop, and I need your help in selling it. Or, also popular, I have 5 steers that I have finished out and I need your help finding a processor and selling the meat. This person had a plan, but not a very well defined or thought out plan. A business plan can give your operation an overall plan or goal, or a rough outline in which to follow. It will give you a resource that you can come back to as you have questions or need to remember what the original plan was after you've spent hours out on the farm and can barely even remember what day it is. Very importantly, a business plan can make you really think through your idea. It can make you think about important topics or items that you may have left out of the original plan. It will make you put your ideas on paper because, as we all know, it's just a dream until it's officially on paper. Are you planning on financing this entire venture out of your own savings? If so, you are in a small minority. Having a business plan is crucial when going to meet with any sort of lender or applying for any grants. Lenders want to see that you have really thought out your ideas and that you won't lose them money. A personal note for you. I went to a local lender with a business idea in mind. I went in to ask for an operating loan of $25,000 with my very basic business plan in hand. I was given that loan with absolutely no hesitation. My loan officer told me that I was very much in the minority, even bringing in the plan that I did. Are you looking to expand or add on additional partners? A business plan can help you think through the financials. Is adding on a partner even feasible? Have you been at it for a few years and decided that you need to restructure? A business plan can give you the framework to help you do that. Has a new enterprise suddenly appeared to you and you decide that you want to pursue it? You can rewrite your business plan to add in any new business opportunities. And finally for this list, although there are many more reasons why a business plan is a good idea, should you have been incredibly successful with your 3 acres of niche crop that you are able to market successfully, a business plan will help you adapt and look at expansion. This is the part about business planning that I think is incredibly important and I think becomes a bit misunderstood. A business plan is a fluid document. This is not something that you write once and put it on a shelf and never look at it again. The business plan is something that you should be looking at regularly. You should be looking to see if you're meeting your goals, if your original goals are even still feasible, if your marketing plan is working, if your financial documents need to be updated. You must be willing to update and make changes to your document. You also have to be willing to admit if something didn't go like you planned. Go back to your business plan and make those changes so that you can make realistic goals or plans. Sometimes you look back afterwards and think, goodness, I am so glad that didn't go as I planned. That's okay. Just go back in and update as needed. When we think about an overall business plan, there are 4 key areas that we need to consider: marketing, operations, human resources, and finance. We will touch briefly on each of these, but they are covered much more in depth in the book that I mentioned before. Whole degrees are given on marketing, so it makes it pretty tough to get all of the information into one presentation. I'm going to hit the highlights, but know that there is much more to it. This is where I encourage you to use a resource or an advisor who can help you dive much deeper into this. First off, product. What is the product that you are going to sell? This doesn't necessarily have to be a physical object. On-farm classes or consulting services would also apply here. Customers. Who are you going to serve? Who is going to be your target audience that is going to do most of the buying from you? Also important is thinking through who else is already serving this market. Unique features. I actually think this one is so important that we are going to come back to this. Distribution. Think through how are you going to get that product to the eventual consumer. Is it going to be through on-farm markets? Are you going to sell to a wholesaler? Are you going to spend every Saturday at a farmer's market? Are you going to be doing all of the delivering, or is someone else going to? Pricing. This is another one that we're going to come back to. Promotion. This is the fun one, at least for me. Advertising. How are you going to get the word out to your potential customers that you have goods and services to sell? Are you going to do a Facebook ad, a radio spot, a TV commercial? How are you going to know if your promotion tactics are actually working? Promotion is so key to a successful business, and a successful promotion campaign is going to be different for every business. How can you best take advantage of that? Lastly, market and industry. This is just thinking through the industry as a whole that you are looking to get into. If you are thinking about getting into flower production, what's the current environment there? Is the market saturated? Are all of the flowers coming from out of the U.S. due to cost? If you're looking at getting into meat production, what are the alternative meat products going to do to meat sales? All things to keep in mind. Again, some of these are very simplified, but should give you a good starting point on things to start thinking through. This is where small farms must stand out. This is what makes you different. This should explain why customers want to buy from you. You need to come up with a concise 30-second speech that you can give to anyone and everyone about your product, why it's better, and why they should buy from you. Here's an example one. Hi, my name is Sarah Sharpe, and I'm a 7th-generation farmer on the family farm that was purchased from President James Madison back in 1819. On our farm, we grow exemplary tulips that are only fertilized with the best, most nutrient-dense fertilizer using manure that we compost from our beef cows. Our tulips will look great on your kitchen table and will bring a smile to your face each time that you see them. Here I stated why I was different, something that perhaps told why my tulips were better, but did not talk about why someone else's products were worse. I appealed to an audience that perhaps values sustainability by talking about composting and reusing resources that we had. Pricing is another portion of marketing that is incredibly nuanced. Overall, prices are influenced by 2 things: your production costs and by your customer's willingness to pay. As you go through this journey, you need to look at your actual expenses so that you can determine what price you need to charge to even break even. When you look at what your competitors are charging, are you in line or are your prices way above? If they are way above the competition, how are you going to differentiate yourself so that people buy from you? You also must look at supply and demand. Niche products, for example, bittermelon, may be easy to grow, but it's hard to sell something at a premium price if consumers in Southwest Virginia have no idea what it is or how to cook it. A premium price may not be able to be charged here. However, if you go to a farmer's market and you're the only vendor there selling brown eggs, perhaps you can get a higher price for those. You also have to think about competition and how much of competition there is. Here's an example of one that I see on a regular basis. Grass-fed beef. You can go to every farmer's market and find multiple vendors selling their pasture-raised, grass-fed, and finished beef. The competition on locally raised beef is fierce right now. All of that competition means that it becomes much harder to charge a premium price well above what others are selling. Caveat, unless it is justified in some way and you have differentiated yourself. All right, let's switch topics from the marketing aspect of your product. Let's think about the overall operations on your farm or in your overall business. In the next few slides, we are going to discuss the resources that you have available, the production systems that you are going to use, and the overall management systems to support the business. When we think about this, think through what you physically have available to you as you start the business. This would be anything that you could feel or hold in your hand, your tangible assets. Here, you also want to differentiate what you have and what you will need. Some examples would be land, buildings, machinery and equipment, breeding animals, market animals, production supplies, nursery stock, greenhouses. The list goes on and on. You also want to think about what sorts of restrictions may be in place on your farm. If your land is in any type of conservation easement, you will need to go back to the holder of the easement to see if what you want to do is allowed. Some of the older easements are incredibly restrictive on what you can and cannot do on the land. You need to be up to date on that. It may be helpful for you to develop a farm map at this point. You can label fields, streams, buildings, anything to help you get a clearer image on what is on your farm and where it is. To go along with the farm map, it's also helpful to think through your entire production system. That includes things like crop rotations, the timings of when things are planted or harvested, and all of the processes in between, any machinery or inputs that may be used, how much you expect to produce, how these items will be stored, processed, and or delivered to the final market. Having a yearly calendar, sometimes separated out by month, can help you think through what you are doing on the farm and identify when you may need extra help or labor. You may want to think about how these items will be produced. A great example of this is organic production and any regulations or policies that may go along with that. To go along with your production system, you also need to think through your workforce. One resource that I often encourage individuals to work through as they are starting a farming venture is the Introduction to Whole Farm Planning module from the Virginia Beginning Farmer and Rancher Coalition. This module has a great human resources section that discusses this topic. I encourage everyone who's going to be in any way involved in the farm to fill out this section. It can be quite an eye-opener. If you don't do that, I encourage you to sit down and seriously think through and write out what is currently being done on the farm and by who, any skills that may be needed or may be missing, any potential labor changes that may be occurring, and most importantly, what the compensation plan is. Are you a business owner or just involved in an expensive hobby? That may sound lighthearted, but it is something that you need to consider. You should have the conversation with all involved. Are they working for free or do they have an end goal when it comes to compensation? When doing your budget, you need to include your time as an expense. Speaking of expenses, a business plan has a large section for financials. I'm just going to cover the very basics here. Please know that this should take a large amount of time and research when you are working on your business plan. The finances of your farm can make you or break you, literally. Risk is something that should be considered when you are working on your financial section. There are so many aspects of risk on the farm that can have a great impact on your financials. This is important because you need to keep it in the back of your mind that even though you spend a lot of time on financials, many different factors can have an impact on your financial planning that you can't even begin to have in mind as you are making your business plan. All of this risk can also carry a high rate of stress in farming. Many aspects of agriculture, farmers just have no control over. You want to consult both an accountant and a lawyer to determine your organizational structure of business. This will have a great impact on many factors, such as risk, finances, taxes, and any estate planning. Finances can also be very overwhelming. There are many resources out there that can help you with them. Be sure to reach out to someone who can help you think through them. Obtaining financing for farming ventures is also something that you want to consider. There are many different options for financing, and again, you want to reach out to a trusted resource who can help talk you through some of these options. Oftentimes, land and building investments can account for the largest expenses. However, depending on your operation, machinery can be quite expensive as well. As you are going through the financial planning part of this business plan, make sure that you are honest with yourself and your business plan regarding your own current financial situation. The visioning aspect of your business plan can be the most fun for you. This is where you can dream and really get your big ideas on paper. Think through what you want your agricultural enterprise to look like in the future. Everything from what it will look like, what items or services you might be producing, who will be working, what your role will be, what differences you can make in your community, and more. Dream big and write it down. At the same time, how will you preserve your sanity? Will you take vacations? Will your family be involved? This is where you can really bring your dreams to life. Finally, we want to think through how to implement the business plan. Like I said in the beginning, this shouldn't be a document that you write and put on a shelf and never look at it again. This should be a living, breathing document that you refer to, make changes to, and use to better your business. That being said, write the plan in a way that makes the most sense to you. How is it going to help you the most? Think about who your intended audience is. If you're trying to get financing, then you want lots of detail and information in the financial section. If you're a new farmer trying to use a business plan to help get all your ideas in one spot, then use it that way. You want to create a to-do list. Break up the business plan into smaller chunks. Looking at this all at once can seem incredibly overwhelming. What are some small steps that you can take to get you on the way to getting a business plan finished? Once you have the plan, you want to establish some check-in points so that you can determine if you are meeting the goals that you set for yourself. Perhaps you want to check and make sure that the financial information that you included is actually making sense or matching up like you have written in your plan. Don't forget to make changes. Make this document work for you. This slide has a list of resources that I like to use to help people as they are writing their business plans. These resources will be listed on the website that you can also refer to. Thanks for making it all the way through this presentation. Hopefully this has given you some ideas of why a business plan is important, as well as some ideas on how to start one. If you have questions or would like to chat further, please feel free to reach out.